to allow you to be out in the trenches and in the battlefield as we go through all these difficult times. You said, and I quote, "Why should we overlook the obvious?" Those were your words, citing the fact that regime after regime, it is the same old, same old. You said, why do we have all of our gold and diamonds and what have you, all of the resources, good rain and everything, but yet we languish in an impoverished society? Having said that, before I ask my two questions, let me lay the premise quickly in 30 seconds. Western cluster, where I come from in the Bomi, Kitmau, and Bapolu area, which is the western region, we saw our resources gambled. And then later on, 49% of what is today the Western Cluster Company was sold to Western Cluster, 49%. We have been looking for the 51% and the owners of the 51%. Till this day and this minute, we cannot find who owns the 51% of our resources, Bapolu, Kitma, and Bonin. I remind you that just yesterday, a diamond worth over $2 million over the last 2 weeks was found in Bapolu. And just yesterday, when the NSA took over the diamonds, the diamond are worth over $2 million, the people went to the home of the president to inform him through protests that our diamond was stolen from us by your national security agency, worth over $2 million. They were brutally beaten, most of them brutalized and waxed off just yesterday. When they don't even have 100,000 United States dollars, $2 million, a diamond over $2 million was just taken away from them. Senior Comrade Larry Tokpa, it is now clear that the Prime African Capital Group was responsible for majority of what we see, the failed concessional agreements or investments and what have you. Only for us to go and ask, it's like they're chasing us around to make sure that we're disciplined and not talk about the millions of dollars, including Buchanan Renewables, that over $200 million was squandered in. They are all on the backlogs. Here is my question to you. We're looking forward to a new regime. I make no apology for the support of Honorable Joseph Boakai. As the progressives, you have always, all of you, have always fought for a better Liberia. Today, I want to ask you, millions of Liberians are listening. You have always fought. What is your new battle? And who are those, or what are you fighting against? And if so, do you have a battle? And if so, who are those you're fighting against? And what is it that you're fighting against today? That is my first question. I said you have always fought.
It's muted.
You are continuing the battle. Owing to all these things, whether corruption, extrajudicial killings, the proliferation of drug cartels, and the destruction of our youth by drugs. What happens to be your battles today?
As I said earlier, anytime that you want to address a particular issue, it is important that you define the problem. In problem definition, answers can be elusive, or there may be unanswered questions. Therefore, we are convinced that the character of the regime theft that has continued to exist in Liberia must be dismissed. This regime theft is literally represented by Mr. Josh Weah, the footballer. We appreciate him as an individual artist that helped to elevate the beauty of sports. But as a political leader, it is clear to all of us now that he's killing Liberia. That is why he must go. So our battle as we define today, is a leadership crisis that can be resolved step by step. Number one, we must go. Number two, we have to collectively agree on our agenda for national renewal. The state has a particular character in Liberia that is problematic. I've said that the policy of the regime that we have from government to government domestically is stealing. So what happened recently is just the stealing of the wealth of our country, of our people. But because many do know the assumption of national leadership provides a prerogative, a latitude in which to steal so much, the struggle for power is so intense that it is a life and death struggle. That is why even those of us who have fought for democracy are afraid that Mr. Weah, knowing that he's not the choice of the people anymore, is going to attempt to introduce violence into our politics. There may be freedom of movement. There may be freedom of association. But that is not enough. There has to be the honest counting of ballots. This is where the interference is going to come most. Suppose for the Election Commission, it's now questionable. If you investigate the thinking about the Election Commission, about the freeness and fairness of this coming election, you understand that the government is not interested in any free and fair election. The integrity of the ballot has to be protected by us. Because since the executive branch of government provides opportunity for stealing so much, the competition for power has become a life and death struggle in this country. We have to resolve that by ensuring that when our people stay online and vote, their votes must be transformed into improvement into the quality of life that they live. This is our issue.
Your second question, Mr. Fagon, and then we're going to go back to Councillor Pakor, and then Miss Muna Faha, welcome to the show. Then you will ask your question. Thank you.
Well, my second question is simple. How would you describe the current political atmosphere in the country? And my question is born out of the fact that you now see people confessing to bringing arms into the country, huge amount of drugs in huge quantity, violence from all sectors, either the vice president sending talks to attack the former political leader of the MDR, or Jefferson Koji threatening sitting government ministers, or that people are flogged for their beliefs. And so because of that, I'm inclined to ask you, as a professor of political science, how would you describe the current political climate in the country for the benefit of those that are living outside the country?
The state in our country today has been privatized. The government has been privatized. The state in our country today has been criminalized. The government has been criminalized. But we fought war. Those who saw war in Liberia will never want for war to come back to our country. However, the government is so insensitive that it is encouraging such an atmosphere, which is wrong, which is bad, because there are veterans on all sides. No particular agency or political institution in Liberia can pretend that it can fight war and just win that war. When you have a government that presides over a post-war country and that insists on stealing, whereby we know that in real good political systems, the leader must eat last. When you have a government where the leader wants to eat first, you have a government that controls the executive control, in which the executive branch controls the legislature and the judiciary. That is not democracy. That is authoritarianism. Because the judiciary and the legislature operate in a similar jurisdiction as the executive branch of government. Where are the men and women of Liberia who have been elected by their people in the counties and the districts of our country that are allowing the local government board to control them with our national resources? It is a shame. Beyond that, you have a government that is trying its best to break down institutions. More than I am, you are very aware that the government wants to remove the tenure from the integrity institutions. When that happens, when you break down institutions, you atomize society. You break society down into its smallest pieces and remove organizations from between the individual and the government. So how can you move us from dictatorship, from autocracy, from authoritarianism to totalitarianism? That is why I say that those who want to restore that kind of system are conservatives. And we'll fight them. We'll continue to fight them. Weah, his government is part of the past. It's time for him to begin to pack to exit the mansion. He's killing democracy. He's killing our people. He's brought disgrace to Liberia in the African continent. Why is it that Liberia, that was respected by West Africa, Africa and the world, is a laughing stock today? It would be better for me to die than to see this. We have to fight. We have to go as a point of departure. That is not all. I thought we are oneness. That is why I continue to say that we need a national agenda to clarify some of the concerns that we have. The so-called Contra-Congo question can be addressed just through a national agenda in which everybody respects each other, where there's honesty, where there's mutual reinforcement of the endeavors to build country. So people drawing ethnicity, religion. Of course, religiosity is always there. But where is the Christian principles around which Liberia was built? Shall we look to Mr. Jesus Christ for our ulterior governance? Where is the preacher? But the introduction of religion in politics is not new, because the masses of our people who have been invited to popularly participate in our democracy are religious-minded. So you cajole them, you use them, you confuse them, you fool them, pretending that you're a religious man. Anybody can quote the Bible. Anybody can study the Bible and teach the Bible. But your practice, love your neighbors as yourself. This is lacking. This is where we are in this country. From dust to dust, arches to arches. Why is it that a certain group of people feel that they are better than others in this country? Who are they? The struggle continues.
Okay, I'm gonna go